Great. Hey.
So where do you live?
Yeah, Jen, start with you. Introduce yourself, say where you are and what you do.
I am Jen Murtland, and I'm a real estate agent, Team Synergy with EXP. Yay.
Right on.
We do Cincinnati.
I like the product placement.
Thank you. We do Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky.
Excellent.
Okay. Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
So my name is Jeff. Jeff Aubrey. I've been in mortgage lending for...
It's not Stella?
It's not Stella.
No, it does say Stella. I'm sorry, she uses this for school.
That's
so
mine says Vulcan 7 too. I just realized.
My bad.
It's all right.
So
Keep going.
I think I've used this twice. So been in mortgage lending for 23 years with American Mortgage Service here in Cincinnati. You know, I've been through quite a bit, you know, been through the, 9/11, the Iraq War, 2008 financial decline, and now this. So
people can just say 2008 and everybody knows what they mean.
Yeah, they do know what you mean.
So I've been through it all, and this is interesting.
It is. It's weird. So, both of you working from home. Jeff, you said you were going in occasionally as like the only person there or something like that.
No, I manage. I manage an office, a couple of offices, and if I'm going to ask other people to come in, I more or less have to go in. So, because we're very busy. So
The real estate market is busy right now, surprisingly.
Some of the numbers I saw said that it was actually running a little above this time last year.
Oh, really?
So
maybe. I know I just looked at the 24-hour watch before we got on here.
Right.
And there was like 119 houses came on the market in the Cincinnati MLS, and 85 went under contract just in the last 24 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. I don't know.
I mean, you guys. I mean, but that's the thing is, don't you personally know realtors that are kind of sitting on their hands right now?
Well, I mean, kind of what Jeff was saying too, like I started this business in 2009. And so for us, even back then, and Jeff knows too, like a lot of real estate people kind of stopped. Like they only really like to do it when it's like quote unquote easy.
Yeah.
And not to say that it's like necessarily hard now. It's just, however you're getting your business, you just have to do it like more quantity and more intensely. But like it's still there. There are people that still need to buy and sell, just like there were people that needed to buy and sell in 8, 9, and 10. It was just we're doing short sales then.
Right.
How they sold was different and how they bought was different.
Sure. I mean, but everybody needs a place to live. I mean, I guess the dynamics can change.
No, rents are good now. Rents are high, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, what do you think? I mean, is it sustainable though?
No. Do you think so, Jeff?
No, it's not sustainable.
We've been waiting for the bottom for like how long? 5 years?
But the whole issue is you've got I don't know, so many people that are going to have issues making their payments, and they're going to take advantage of the forbearance, which is going to crush banks because they still have to pay the people behind the scenes that actually funded these loans.
Right.
And the interest rates have been so low, they haven't been collecting enough money.
Yeah, in the first place. They don't have a kitty, right?
Well, they never have a kitty. Or they bailed them out in 2008.
Right.
I mean,
well, and that's how the flow of money works. You lend out the same money 20 times.
Right.
I mean, that's how it works.
Otherwise, people probably wouldn't do it.
I will say this, though. I've never seen money, even in 2008, after the financial crisis, I've not experienced the drying up of actual money.
Right.
And what we're experiencing now, because the jumbo market, if you can find a lender right now that'll tell you that they can lock you in for 45 to 60 days and guarantee anything at all in the jumbo market, it's
Is jumbo, is that 450? No, it's higher than 450, right? Or is it 450?
510, 400.
I thought it was
520,400. However, I say that, and on the lower end, we went from doing FHA loans with scores well under 600 to where if you can find a lender right now that'll do it at 640,
Yeah.
See, I think that's
you're lucky.
crazy.
I mean, all of the big lenders right now aren't doing anything under a 680 credit score, which is they're more or less saying they won't do any government loans.
But didn't they change the way that the credit score is calculated?
Yeah.
What changed?
The certain types of collections they could no longer list on credit reports, which was going to be
medical, right?
No, medical's still on there. They just don't list.
I thought there was some legislation
I thought
passed.
they didn't really count it.
Yeah, I did too. I thought some legislation was passed where medical stuff didn't count as a normal creditor would.
Yeah,
you know better than me.
But you do. So,
see, and this is why rents are up. Get rental property. That's
right.
the highlight of today.
Before we're off, Jen's going to give you her email address. She's going to help you find this investment portfolio building for you.
So
and if you need financing, Jeff will.
Yeah, right. So what are they not counting now?
There's a variety of things that credit agencies aren't counting right now. But it's still what they've done though overall in regards to where lending is right now is they've cut out the bottom 33% of the buyers that you were able to work with 45 days ago.
Yeah, I know. Some of those people were under contract.
Yeah.
And then it changed in the middle of their contract.
Oh, the parameters of their lending situation changed and they couldn't do the house anymore?
No.
Wow.
It sucks. Or I was really surprised because we had some clients who, one in particular, she works for a big company and they laid off, but she had plenty of reserves. But they wouldn't lend because she technically got laid off, even though when it goes back, she will get her job back, right? So assuming, in a couple weeks she'll get her job back. But it's I kind of feel I know lending, it's a risk tolerance issue, and I get that, but it's a good opportunity to be a little bit, that was funny.
It
was a good opportunity to be a little bit creative that I thought some of the smaller institutions that hold the loans didn't necessarily capitalize on. What do you think about that, Jeff?
The servicing of the loans is such a small percentage of what they're actually generating any income off of. Okay. I mean, they're looking at a vast volume of loans just to really generate anything off of actual servicing of them, due to what the overhead is to do that, from escrow to whatever.
Got it. That's why most of them get sold right after you.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yep.
We'll leave it.
This is beautiful. I always try and set this up so that the people I have on can talk to each other. So it's working out really well.
Come on. I mean, Scott, you spent some time in that industry. I mean,
yeah, but I did, man. You and I've talked about this before. There was a reason I was not successful as an LO, and it's because I had a rudimentary understanding at best of what I was doing, and I was not a lead generator. I sat and waited for shit, and it's just not how you do it. It's just not. And
yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with timing in regards to when you get in the industry as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that you could argue that I might have done better in one of these massive upswings like we had over the last few years, but I mean, it is what it is. I don't miss it. I for some reason it stressed me out.
I mean, it's a commission sales job. That stresses a lot. I think though, I know you wanted to kind of talk about how the coronavirus and everything going on is.
Well, you guys sound like things are going pretty well, and I'm more than happy to hear about that and how I mean, just how it's going for each of you personally.
Well, I mean, it's definitely different. I mean, as a real estate agent, I generally work from home. I mean, as you know, I traveled around the world for a year last year, and Yeah,
looked
last
tough.
year.
It looked
And
really
so,
tough.
what's that?
It looked tough.
It was so hard. Oh my gosh. But I mean, it took me though, honestly, it took me about a month and a half to figure out how to do my job remotely.
Yeah,
And
and then you had that in your back pocket when this all happened.
I know, right? I should have capitalized on that a little bit better. But I was definitely like helping people out and showing them like what to do and stuff like that. And the people got it pretty quickly, but it feels like just now, like it's been about a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit over. And it feels like just now people are now starting to be like, oh, I get it now. Like I know how to work remotely. And I think that will be really good for the real estate industry,
Sure.
moving forward.
Yeah.
From what I'm
Well,
seeing, there's some positive changes.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of aspects of selling houses that can be done without being in person. And the
Right.
fact is that technology is at a point now where when you have to have a face to face for whatever reason, you can't.
Mm-hmm.
You
I mean,
can't.
even around the world. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I was working in Japan, but I was working on Ohio hours.
Right.
There in Malaysia, like right now, it's 8 o'clock at night in Malaysia, and like I'd be working.
So you
They
would go
wouldn't
like
know.
so you'd go like you go out and do the karaoke bars until 4 or 5 in the morning, and then come in and call
And then
people.
come back to work. Exactly. Yeah, my karaoke song is that tequila song.
You
It's
just
just
where all
like
you gotta do is say tequila at the end of everything.
tequila.
Win a lot of contests with that. Jeff,
Yeah, for sure.
Jeff, so you say you're super busy.
I'm busy. I'm busy working with borrowers. You know, the vast majority of what bankers are doing right now is refinancing.
That's what I was gonna ask you
Yeah.
next.
I mean, you've got a lack of inventory out there. You've got borrowers out there that are scared to go and view that inventory when the inventory
Right.
does it. You do have people jumping on it, but I'm sitting here watching pre-approvals that we gave out 90 days ago, 60 days, 30 days ago for these borrowers to go shopping that as of today, they're not worth the paper it's written on.
Right.
And as of tomorrow, depending on how this transpires, an even smaller portion could be approved through no fault, of those borrowers, not to mention the fact that, how many of those still have the jobs that they had,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
8
Well,
days ago.
You both said things are going pretty well right now. You both said it's not sustainable. I've said on almost all of these conversations I've had with people that my biggest fear about this whole thing is the kind of stilted, weaker economic position this whole country's going to be in out the other side. There's going to be a lot of people adding debt that they can't afford now. There's going to be a lot of people out of work then. I don't know. I mean, how do
Yeah,
you
but
guys?
still, like when you look at the world as a whole, we have it's a fragile economy, but it's also the largest economy. I mean,
I don't know why I don't find that particularly reassuring. It's so big that it can't be a disaster. I
no,
don't
it
know.
can be a disaster, and it is clearly super fragile, as we've all learned, right? But we
Yes.
also, like, if we look at
There's the
people have yeah, maybe I should get something a little stronger than tea.
I think you should.
People have, I know it from my perspective, and I mean, that's all I have, right? Like, I noticed that after 2009, 2010, it seemed like buyers they were saving a lot more money, and they were being more conservative about the houses they were buying. Whereas like before, people were like, oh, what can I afford? Allegedly, what did they say that I could afford? And then they bought that rather than actually checking their budget. It seems like people are more budget conscious. And I think now people will be more saving conscious. They'll be more prepared.
I mean, I hope so. I admire your optimism for the average American. I just, I mean, it's just like, I mean, these are the kind of statistics that and I'm not, I mean, you guys both know me well enough. I'm not a gloom and doom kind of person, generally speaking.
Yeah.
I'm not. I think a lot of what happens economically, especially in this country, has to do with kind of the group perception of how it is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's
during
what
that whole.
people.
Yeah, oh yeah, but see, during that whole '08 thing, I felt really lucky. I didn't take a bath in the stock market. I didn't have any fucking savings or retirement account, you know. And Christina was a little worried about it and wanted to save more. And I said, no, no, no. An economic situation like this, you behave like you always do. Spend your fucking money, move it along. And you know, we survived, and we ended up buying a house and shit. You know, it was all good. We bought a rental that was getting foreclosed on
See, there you go.
by
Boom.
Guardian Savings Bank.
Yep. That's funny.
Oh, do you
Well,
not know
I
that story?
wouldn't have
Guardian,
liquidated-
really,
Huh?
really quickly, just so you know, Guardian Savings Bank foreclosed on my house, fought with them tooth and nail, ended up finally getting to purchase it from them, and then I got a job working there for Jeff Aubrey
There you go.
years and years and years ago. So I like to think that some higher up at the place said that Haggerty was pretty tenacious. Let's get him in here.
Let's get him in here. And then he
I
was
don't
like,
see why he left. I don't understand.
Christmas was coming, man. I couldn't handle it.
You didn't want to go to the Christmas party.
No, I did want to go to the. I still have the. Here's the Canon Rebel over here that I won
Mhm.
from Guardian Savings Bank.
Did you ever find your cell phone?
No.
What happened to your cell phone?
We were walking out of the Guardian. Or you tell the story, Jeff.
Yeah, we were leaving a bank function. Yeah, a riverboat. And Scott and I were walking out together, and I was
gesturing,
I guess, boisterously discussing something, and I knocked his cell phone out of his hand, and we both watched it. We both watched it just float.
It was
out
like
of his hand and into the river.
Yep.
Yeah. No good.
I like to think some catfish is playing Candy Crush on it right now.
So I turned and I looked at him, and I'm like, man, I'm sorry.
I know. It was pretty calm too. You're like, man.
Did you tell him it was $1,000 iPhone? I can't believe how expensive those stupid things are.
No, I don't. No, Jeff. What was a couple $100? You replaced it the next day.
Yeah.
It was a flip phone.
But
Probably.
yeah.
I'm still carrying. I still carry around a 5S. Apple 5S.
Wow, look at you.
That may be the one that I got you.
You're right. You're right.
It may well be. And it serves its purpose. I can play Candy Crush on it.
I love Candy Crush. It's good.
It's terrible, but I do
so Scott, are you still? I haven't spoken to you in a while. You know. All right. So are you still confined?
I am still confined.
Okay.
But you know, me and Christine are both really lucky. We both have jobs that we can work from home.
So let me ask you this: the governor came out today. There's a good chance May 1st they are going to be opening up X amount of businesses, whatever.
I think it's stupid.
Why?
Sorry.
Too soon.
You think so?
I do. I
Let's
do.
fight about this.
Oh, good. Let's. No, I really think that I think what's going to happen is this goes back to the thing I was saying before about faith in the average human being. You know, they're going to say, yes, we're going to do this. If they're smart, they'll do it in stages, these kinds of things.
They'll definitely do it in waves. They're not just going to like everybody open their door.
But wait and see how people behave.
What do you think's going to happen?
I think we're going to find ourselves getting more new cases and more new deaths a day within a month of that date. It's going to be back to. This is my biggest concern: is that they're going to cut everything loose too soon. They're going to stop talking about the restrictions enough for people to get it through their thick skulls, and we're going to reinvigorate this whole thing. And then we're going to find ourselves in a situation where we're going to have to do this shelter-in-place shit even longer.
But if you shelter in place, like you don't necessarily get rid of it. Like we have to come out at some point, yes?
Well, yeah. I mean, the assumption
or you just shelter in place until it's hot
for the rest of your life.
I mean, until summer, like that just can't work.
Well, the thing is, I don't. This whole idea of the seasonal affectation that they're saying that the warmer weather is going to make it. You know, this disease.
I don't believe that.
I don't either. It's spread like wildfire in tropical climates. So
yeah.
But I just think it's too soon. I do.
It's definitely not too soon. And 2 weeks will not be too soon.
Without with what little testing we have, and with what little accuracy we actually have on the numbers that they're giving us, I mean, there's no way the numbers are right.
No, they're not right at all.
And we've got over.
And if we wait until they get it right, we'll be quarantined for 18 months.
Would you?
I don't want to be quarantined.
Right now, there's I don't know, you look at 4% of the people that catch this right now that are dying. Okay, based on
4%. It's not 4%.
Well, actually, in
Okay.
the U.S., I think it's closer to 7.
Well, but in Ohio, what is it? Ohio, it's like
Ohio,
less
it's
than
like it's a fraction of a percent. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. That I really, it kind of bums me out when you start talking about what's an acceptable loss of life, which is what we're talking about, right? You know, I understand my concern about the economy is founded well enough to know that you know, there's things that have to happen. There's things that need to keep going in motion. I just want us to be smart about it, and I'm not sure rushing it is.
Would you not rather err on the side of caution when
Yeah.
it comes to human life? I
At
mean,
least a little bit. Jen's like, not really.
just
No, let me tell
it's a state and city. Well, it's really probably a city by city basis, right? Like, I think if I was in New York, it would be different. But in Cincinnati, we're just not. We just don't have the numbers like they do in other places.
That's because I think that Cincinnati was quick, fast on the uptake to do this social distancing business.
But I mean, a lot of people that know more than we do are saying that we've like leveled off, and it's a good time to go ahead and get started.
You know, you say that, and that's the thing is I've seen the same thing over the last week. News coverage from every outlet, I don't care who you're following, but news coverage from every outlet over the last week pivoted away from the case death counts to the debate on when the economy starts back up. But during that time period, where the news wasn't paying attention, we had our number 1, 2, and 3 days in the United States for new cases and deaths.
But I don't think it can't be that big, though. We have to go more local than that, because we're not as populated, and
the only way you can say that, though, is if you confine our state and you block our borders. If you're gonna do that,
you're gonna build a wall, Jeff?
Yeah. We're not gonna build a wall.
If you're gonna simplify it to where all you're worried about is our state, then you would have to sequester our state to be able to run your numbers. Because if people are coming in from other highly infected states,
well, you could say that. You could say our county. I could say Hyde Park. You fuckers ain't coming into Hyde Park.
Build a wall around
Hyde Park, right? Think about the property values then, Jen. The state's largest gated community. Here's the thing. You know, I've had this conversation with a lot of people, and I understand it. I understand the desire to try and get back to some level of normalcy, but you have to accept the fact that it's never going to be the same again.
But it's never going to be the same, and there's always risk.
But here's the thing. But having the attitude about let's set a date and let's get things rolling, all that is reflective of your confidence that you're smart enough and you're savvy enough to avoid getting infected. You know, I've been going out. I'm the point person for my house. I don't wear a mask. I don't wear gloves. I don't lick the touchpad at the grocery store. You know, I wash my hands.
It tastes so good. You should try it.
Does it? Okay. No, I've always suspected.
No.
But the thing is it's, you know, I don't know. I just don't feel like it's just about me.
Yeah. It's not. I mean,
no, I know.
Well, about
no, it really is. When it comes down to it, that's my perspective. It really is.
Yeah.
But it's just, you know, I understand it. I understand the need to get things rolling again. But, you know, we just talked about the fact that the real estate industry is moving along without, you know, restrictions being lifted. People are borrowing, you know, and I feel for people that are not making money right now and suffering, but I just think it's too soon. I still think it's too soon. The numbers are still going up. As long as there's new cases and new deaths in higher numbers each successive day,
I just don't think that we can run our lives based on that.
You don't what?
I just don't think we can run our lives like based on that. I don't know.
We could run our deaths based on it.
I hope more people want to run their lives that way. And I think overall you're looking at a society that, based on what we have done in most of these states, you know, I think the people understand. I mean, that doesn't mean that we're not itching to get out.
I'm fucking itching to get out.
The fast, I'm one of those people that have to go to work. But you know what? 95% of the people I know and that I hang out with and that I communicate with, they're taking this serious.
Yeah.
I mean, and I appreciate that. I don't think that if it's lifted May 1st, you're going to see anywhere near the people that you think are actually going to be out there, gung ho?
I don't think there will be a ton of people. I think he'll do it in phases.
Ideally.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what he'll do? I just think that he will. I mean, this is all it is speculative, right? We don't know, but
and that would make the most sense. So I'm not sure why you're betting on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I'm not in charge for sure, but it's okay. I'm used to people disagreeing with me. I have a podcast where most of the time people are disagreeing with me.
Before we finish tonight, Jen's going to tell us where you can tune into her podcast.
It's for realtors.
Well, tell us anyway.
I'll tell you. It's called Toe to Toe Podcast.
TOE. Excellent.
TOE.
The number 2 dash TOE and then podcast. You can find it on Facebook.
Put the 2 in the middle there. It's gangster.
You got to put the 2 and you got to put the podcast at the end.
Okay.
I thought, what happened to Altman?
What do you mean?
I thought you said she was in.
Who? Lauren Altman? Sharon Altman? No, I didn't even ask her. You told me not to. And now it's public that you said that. No, the thing was, I was thinking about it, honestly. And sorry, Jen, but I was thinking about that because I've been trying to pair people, and sometimes I want people that have, 2 totally disparate circumstances. And sometimes I want to do what we're doing tonight, which is like the same essential industry. And then I just realized that, I mean, Jen, you were on my list to call anyway. And I thought it would make sense to have a realtor and a lender versus 2 lenders. Even though that Sharon's easy on the eyes.
Yeah, I hear you.
I mean, come on.
I'm not saying, Jen, nobody's calling you chopped liver. I just know you do.
Not at all.
I'm gonna have to look her up.
I was telling you, thinking about this, like this return to relative normalcy, I was telling Christina today, I'm a hugger. It's going to be tough for me not to want to hug people I haven't seen.
I know. That's like been the hardest too. Like, those love languages. Have you read that book?
I have not read that book, but I always like the way you say it.
Yeah. Well, there's have you seen it, Jeff?
No, I have not.
They talk about the people give and receive love, and there's 5 ways. So one of them is physical touch. It doesn't, and one is gifts. I mean, anyway, there's 5. And so Scott, you're probably physical touch. So is. It's
all day, every day.
Yeah,
just don't let me hold your child.
Right now.
I am too. So it's just not having contact with people is very hard.
Yeah, it's hard for me too. And and I was kind of complaining about being the point person to go to the store and stuff for the family, but thank God.
Yeah.
I lobbied Ren to let me work from home for so long, and now God help me, I'd kind of like to go in.
Yeah.
Or at least have the option to go in.
Something. I don't know. I mean, I love my wife and kids, but I mean, we have our moments. I mean, this is the end of the 4th week of essentially all of us just being in the same house at the same time.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. I coach some real estate agents, and one of them, I think she's a toddler. I mean, I don't have kids, so she's however old that is, maybe 3 or something like that. She was body slamming up herself against the door while we were doing our coaching call. I was like, oh my God, your kid. Kids are going crazy.
Yeah, my 16-year-old son's losing his mind. My 11-year-old daughter's actually pretty well adjusted, and she's just kind of totally absorbed herself into schoolwork and Roblox and shit. But my son is just every time I turn around, he's like, I gotta get out of here.
He's a teenager though. They're crazy.
Hey, so have you made the Home Depot trip or the Lowe's trip? Or were you there longer than you should have been?
I was in the parking lot for an hour before I got in the store.
Well,
once I got in the store, there was nobody in there, and I just kind of wandered around whistling and getting my shit.
Were you skipping?
A little bit.
Nice.
You can see it, can't you?
Yeah.
Grass seed under one arm.
Yeah. In a basket.
Yeah.
If you need an associate for help, they're pretty easy to find because there's nobody else in there.
There's nobody else in there.
Yeah.
Somebody was asking me how to find something at Home Depot. I said, find somebody with an orange apron on.
Right.
Yeah.
They're all over the place.
I know that. Yeah. They're limiting the amount of people, right? I mean, that's probably what a lot of restaurants will keep will start doing once they're allowed
But
to open.
that's another thing too. Is like I talked to when you said Altman before, I thought you meant Lauren Altman. She works for Thunderdome here in town, and they had to lay off their whole staff. And I was talking to her about converting to carry out, and she's just like, a restaurant's equipped for that or it isn't. It's not necessarily an automatic profit. And I just, that worries me a little bit that restaurants are only going to be able to open with half seating,
Yeah,
if at all.
You
And
and I both worked in that industry.
yeah,
I mean,
and
if they
you
had,
don't make money if you're not packing them
No,
you couldn't cut the
I
last.
know. It's not going to be worth it.
In half, and then they wouldn't be able to pay the rent.
Right. Well, especially, I mean, I'm downtown. Like, I'm afraid we're going to lose a ton of restaurants because they're all small businesses. And I know their rent has got to be sky high. Their cost, all their food is like local and, all this crap, which is the cost of food is sky high.
Which means their margins are nothing.
Nothing.
It's like, I heard a guy on NPR, this was 3.5 weeks ago now, before, the solidity of this whole thing had taken place nationwide. And he was saying that, your favorite family-owned businesses, retail, restaurants, bars, 3 out of 4 of them ain't going to make it to June.
Sucks.
75% of the places you know and love. Like I've been trying to the Quarter Bistro, Jeff, they're doing carry out Thursdays through Sundays. I'm calling them tomorrow.
But the thing is, the part of restaurants is going there to dine. It's not, I mean, the food is good, right? But it's the atmosphere, it's the experience, it's the hang out with your friends.
Right.
Like, that's why we like to go out. I mean, we can all make food.
Well, the 3 of us right now, we can all make food. The 3 of us right now should make a pact, because they're talking about restaurants with spare seating where the servers wear masks and disposable menus and that sort of thing. So we open a restaurant called Halloween Town.
Okay.
Everybody wears masks.
Yeah, everybody wears masks, and all of the tables are really far apart, and we'll have bubbling cauldrons of shit between them, so people aren't encouraged to.
I like it.
It'll be huge. It'll be huge.
I like it.
I'm a banker. I'm a banker, and I'm going to ask people to come wearing masks. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Exactly.
Halloween Town. Hansel and Gretel's house.
Creepy. I like it.
So so Jen, you think this May 1st thing's gonna be fine? You think it's just gonna be fine?
I do.
Nope.
I hope you're right. I sincerely hope you're right. Jeff, I think you're more in line with my kind of pessimistic dick attitude.
I'm gonna say we would be lucky we would be lucky if we swam in a swimming pool this year, but I'll go with June 1st.
June 1st, you'd be more positive. You'd be more comfortable about that?
To be optimistic.
What do we mean by fine? Like, how do we know?
Like I said, it's never going to be.
No, it's not.
But
I mean,
when I say fine, I mean you're not freaking out. It's you don't have to wear mask and gloves to go buy a pack of cigarettes.
Oh, well, I don't think that'll be by May 1st. No, I just think that we should reopen.
Well, let me ask you this though: if tomorrow they were able to open something, what would you want them to open that you would be giddy about going to?
Good question.
What industry? What establishment? What?
I mean, I would love for them to reopen. Yes. Oh, I love Madison Bowl. The breakfast there. So
honestly, though,
nothing like Keno and burned eggs.
What business would you want open?
I mean, I would like to see the restaurants open back up.
So whatever restaurant, I don't want to name a restaurant. Okay, whatever restaurant opens, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they'd be packed?
Yeah.
Do you really think?
I don't.
You really do?
I don't think so.
I think people are stupid. I think there's a whole huge percentage of the population of this country that is chomping at the bit to do something, anything. Whether it's a retail store, restaurant, a bar, bowling alley, whatever it might be. I think the first thing that opens is going to get inundated.
Retail stores, great. I mean, we have Home Depot open. It's a retail store. Don't get me wrong. I love to be able to get my mulch so I can go do something on the weekend because I can't do anything. Okay, but honestly, they could open a lot of retail and do the same thing Home Depot's doing. Limit the number of people based on square footage.
I just
whatever.
realized, Jeff,
Okay,
I just
because
realized the
if you
one
can-
thing I need him to
if you're
open
gonna-
tomorrow.
If you're going to
What?
justify that you can keep that type of an establishment really open in regards
You
to how
can.
it's confined, open retail the same way. Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, and whatever. But I don't see people, I don't know. The
I don't
whole
see people
sitting
doing it
down-
smart. That's the whole thing. I think we're all in complete agreement, actually. I think we all agree that it's really important that the economy get as quickly as possible back to some kind of functionality. You know, I don't think we're all arguing different
Let me
points.
ask you this.
It's just a question of whether it's, by the way, I want a haircut. That's the first place I want to
I
open.
need, fuck
I'll
yeah.
cut your hair.
I'll
Wait,
say.
really? How soon can you be here?
I mean, I can buzz it.
Oh, I could do that. I'd look like a chimp.
You realize May 1st or whenever they do this, I mean, they're going to make it mandatory that we wear masks. I mean, if you want to go,
They're going to try, but what are they going to do? They're going to send
restaurant.
cops out to write tickets to people that don't have the right bandana. I don't think that's
Well,
realistic.
What? One of my, I have a couple of friends that are in Cape Town, South Africa, and they are not even allowed to go outside, and they banned the sale of alcohol and cigarettes. Yes.
I'd kill myself.
And they are stopping people that are outside and questioning them and fining them. Yeah. Can you imagine if they did that in the States?
Well, there's no way. That's the thing is that's one of those things that there's just no way that could. It's like the mask thing. It's not implementable. It's just not. I have a friend who was in France, and she said a month and a half ago that France had this thing where you had to go online and get this like approval letter to do anything, to go anywhere. And so if you went to the store, you had to print off this government sanctioned letter.
That too.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, it's so all of a sudden France is like, show me your papers, you know. And
I know I feel like you're back in like World War I.
Yeah, the beginning too. It's just I don't think my biggest concern is we can't be smart about it, and then the real genuine useful restrictions on it won't be enforceable.
Not here.
That's
not,
no, not in the United States.
Not in the U.S. Yeah.
So that's
especially not Northern Kentucky.
Say it's not enforceable. Okay, you've got a herd mentality going on here. Okay, so whether or not you're sitting in a restaurant or you're wherever and you got 20 people there, if 17 of them have an issue with it,
that's true.
Have you been to the grocery store and seen some of and witnessed some of the chaos that occurs with certain people if you're not 6.5 feet away?
Yeah, I mean, I have not had any issues, and like I said, I largely go out unprotected. I don't crowd people, but I'm not like constantly measuring my distance either.
Right.
I breathe through my nose as much as I can. I'm not grabbing.
You're also looking at where we are right now as in regards to recommendations. You turn around and tell everybody that they need to wear masks, and then people aren't standing 4 feet away, 6 feet, or whatever away. It's you add another layer of insecurity on people.
Yeah.
And you open up even more. I don't know.
No, either.
How stocked is your doomsday prepper thing, Jeff?
I'm sorry?
How stocked are you on your doomsday prepper?
I don't have anything. That's good. I go out every day.
Yeah.
I have to go out every day. I go to Home Depot every day. We eat out every day. That's just it. I'm not a fear person at all. Okay.
Right on.
But you look at how people are responding to this. I mean,
I'm going to get cut off here. I'm getting ready to listen. There's a whole nother can of worms we could open about, what people are being told, what they're believing, and how it's getting split up, and so on and so forth. Will you guys do this again sometime?
Sure. Thanks.
I can't thank you both enough for being here. Jen, it was great to see you. Jeff, it's always great to see you, but not as nice as it was to see Jen.
Nice to meet you, Jen.
You guys have a great night. Be safe. We'll do this again soon, okay?
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.